And what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Meathead Manual. My name is Adam. I'm one of the meatiest meatballs in the fucking world. And with me, as always, my good buddy, my compatriot, my fucking compadre, Mr. Andrew Harris. Say what's up.
Welcome in.
Now, I understand it looks like I'm on my phone, but that's only because I forgot that one of my clients is working out, or he's training today. So I just wanted to update. Now,
Last minute update.
last minute, sorry. That's how good of a coach I am. I forget things. So,
I think we all do that. Like, oh shit, I forgot about that.
dude, now that I remember. So, the girl that goes to our gym now, Amanda.
Yeah.
Amanda Smith. She is number 25 in the world in if you open powerlifting, he's number 25. She goes to our gym now, and I've been helping her, or I am going to start helping her with getting her hip issue under control. She's been going to Kelly for a while, and now we're kind of like moving more into the whole like, okay, let's rehab this and get back into and like, mind you, it was like something I talked to her about, and I was like, would you like some help? And she's been very like, oh yeah, any help would be great. She's so like, she's super cool. We went through a bunch of stuff yesterday, and I just remembered today that I have to give her a rehab protocol, and I have it written now. The issue is that I have to put it on Google Sheets and actually send it to her, and it's like my brain was like, well, you did it though. I was like, well, we didn't finish. You didn't finish it, but you did it though. So anyway, how you doing?
Doing pretty good.
How are you doing?
How you doing? Well, how you doing?
Brother, you are right at the door for competition.
I know.
How are you feeling?
Pretty good. Overall.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Hit everything this week we're supposed to, and everything's moving like it should. So
407 on bench, dude.
a couple PRs this week.
Hell
Or
yeah.
last weekend this week.
Hell yeah.
So pretty stoked about that because we don't normally hit PRs in training.
We don't.
It's usually calm.
Yeah. So, I mean, we're also too, it's like your body has definitely been like, all right, we had our moment, but yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
And it just, you again, like I said last time, you've taken so well into this whole prep, and you definitely had your bumps and bruises, but we've overcome it, and now we're ready. We'll leave Thursday, and then you'll weigh in Friday. Fuck on Saturday. Bridgeford's gonna be there.
Okay.
Chris Bridgeford. He's gonna be handling my friend Xander, who's competing with you.
Nice.
So I'm gonna be able to hang out with Chris Bridgeford, look at him and be like, hey, I remember when you tore your quad sumo deadlifting, but then you came back and now you were like super stronger. So like, what's that about?
Tell me your secrets.
Yeah, you're silly.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Hell yeah.
It's cool because there's a whole like strength sports festival going on. So there's also gonna be a strongman competition going on. Some fighting sports stuff going on. So there's gonna be a number of things there. So it'd be a cool overall experience. It's not just the powerlifting meet going on. So
I didn't know that. This was, I was thinking we're just gonna be at a little venue.
no, it's at the World Convention Center or something like that in Vegas. So
No pressure.
yeah,
No,
should be fun though.
You're gonna kill it, dude.
Yeah,
Kill it.
Should be cool. So yeah, we'll see what it's all about. I haven't heard about this one before, the Strength Sports Festival. I think it's pretty new.
Breaking shit, dude.
I think that was from last week when you unhooked it.
I had no idea what you were talking about that is slandered and be coming after you with that.
So yeah, last week. Fucking real.
Fuck yeah, dude. We're looking at big total. Big total. Big total.
Yeah, be a big jump from previous totals. So
Oh yeah. Now, how's the back feeling?
So It'll tighten up, but like I did like literally a couple minutes on the ball, rolling on my quads, and it's like, okay, we're good now. So
is that
keep doing that.
So is that what we're gonna have to do during your first, second, and third attempts on?
Yeah, just in between, just going in with the ball and digging in the quads.
Dude, if I have to, I'll get a Theragun.
I'll bring mine. I get some.
Dig into. Whoa.
Yeah. Whoa.
Anyway,
That's so good.
but like, so I mean, obviously, once we're done, we're gonna go get food. We're gonna go hang out. This is honestly my first time ever as a coach, like traveling outside of the San Diego area to go and help coach or to go and handle.
Yeah.
Which is super fucking cool. So this is going to be a huge experience on my end as well. I'm going to make sure I'm going to have fucking everything done. Everything, dude. You know,
I heard my little coach's bag that my client gave me before.
is it with your, there's some screaming bloody murder on site.
It's a little kid.
I know. We had a good punt too. No.
Good pun to get you.
Now, do you have the shit your pants emergency kit?
No, that's all you.
That's true.
I don't wear it anyways when I compete.
Oh God.
So I was.
Yeah, neither do I.
If it happens, I guess it's just in the.
Yes, it's in the spandex, dude.
In there.
Fuck it. But that's good, man. All right. I already talked to Xander as well, and Xander's like, "Hey, man, if your boy needs anything, I got some stuff too." I was like, "Sick. All right. He should be good though." So
Yeah, we'll be good. How are you feeling? I know you had a little fun thing yesterday.
So, which is something that we're going to talk about a little bit today.
Yeah.
But I am rolling into 2 injuries, quote unquote. Saturday before the podcast last week, I was benching, and something even Chad, I was talking to Chad yesterday. Chad is one of our members that goes to our gym. He's also a PT, and he was like, well, okay, so what more than likely is it's not so much that you hurt your quad benching. So for those listening, I was doing my second set of close grip bench, and I was driving off of my legs like I normally do, and I felt I want to say like a burning sensation in my quad. I racked it. I was like, wow, that was weird. I did my last set, and it was a little bit worse. So I was like, what the heck? And later on in the night, I was like basically hobbling, like I couldn't really walk. I was like, what the fuck? Sunday, it was better. I couldn't load it completely without there being some pain, and so pushing forward into Monday, I was able to bench on it, but like again, first rep fine, second rep okay, that hurts, and then third rep of my sets, I basically had no leg drive.
Yeah.
But I kept walking on, I kept doing everything, and it's basically back to normal. It's fine. However, I could still feel it on bench. Like if I which is what happened last week or yesterday. Yesterday I came in to do my workouts, and everything was fine. I did my speed squats, I did my RDLs, went right over to bench, and I did my first set. My first set, I was like, okay, feeling okay, but it's there. I could feel it.
Yeah.
And my PT brain is like, hey, just because it's there doesn't mean it's bad, all right? Just all right.
Yeah.
Take the bar off the rack for my second set. I bring it down, and then as I'm bringing it down towards my chest, I feel my pec curl, basically the muscle itself curl, and it was like, ow. And so which was actually super cool, by the way, because it went ow, and I immediately pressed it up. And here's the issue. It was fast. I was like, wow, that was fast. That was sick. Okay, cool. But pressed it, racked it, and went, are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
And it's not torn.
Yeah, because if you tore it, you wouldn't be able to press it.
And if I tore it, I'd be here, but I'd be high as fuck.
Yeah.
Just on a lot of bait killers. But,
yeah.
but I racked it, and it was like, the fuck? And so I did some minor pressing on it, and just like pressing like minimal weight, I was like, it was hurting. I was like, man, fuck. I strained my pec.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning though. It feels okay. What more than likely, what I'm gonna guess and assume, I'm not a doctor, nor do I have X-ray vision. All I can do is just stare at my tits in the mirror and just be like, I don't see bruising. I'm fine, right? But what more than likely is because more than likely because I don't stretch my pecs that often. I stretched my pecs earlier that day. Like hardcore. Like I really fucking dug into my pecs and really tried to open my shoulders and open my pecs up. Second,
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie to you, like it just, I think it was something that Chad was telling me was that like, it's not so much that these RPEs, the RPEs set for these weights are super high, but then combined, it's just I'm just very fatigued by the time I get to my close grip bench.
Yeah.
And
I wonder if it's also like you're just, because I'm struggling with it, is trying to stay hydrated enough. Because like I'm drinking the normal amount of water I normally do, and I swear I can't seem to get enough.
oh yeah,
You know, I don't know if it's just right now like it's so dry or something, but I feel like it's been such a struggle to get enough water in.
oh yeah.
Everything's a little tighter. Everything's like, it feels like a little like, oh, you know, like it might cramp at any moment, you know?
Exactly. And I also just been like, I don't know. I've been looking into it, and I've been trying to see if I'm like, okay, well, I mean, is it the growth hormone that I'm on? No, growth wouldn't be doing that to me. I was like, well, it could be the Retta. Is it the Retta that I'm taking? I looked into Retta, and no, Retta, if anything, very much supports tendon, ligament, and bone and muscle health. Like, it's fine. But I think personally, I'm the same way. I'm slugging water, and it's like
Still not enough.
still not enough. And I'm like, what the fuck? And like, but it's all in all. No, I'm actually like very happy with how this is going, because beforehand, if I would have hurt myself prior, like younger Adam would have been like, now I hurt myself and I'm like, oh, that hurt, but it could have been worse.
Yeah.
Could have.
You had a major injury, so
Yeah.
that's a good thing.
It could have been worse. And you know what? I'm okay. We're okay. And you know what? All right. So we're gonna have to pull back this week, and we're gonna rehash and figure some things out. And Jen was very, very much accommodating, and she was like, let's go into a more of a less is more approach. And I feel like that's actually something that a lot of people rush into. I think like newer and beginner and slash like beginner and intermediate lifters kind of like go into a little bit more of a less is more type of thing, right? Because they're like, well, I need to do what, you know, but like, I think it's kind of like a bell curve, right? It's like you can get away with less is more as a beginner and like beginner and intermediate. Then as you get to the more elite, then you start pushing more into like,
Yeah, well, you have the new stimulus, so you're just going to get gains no matter what beginning. And then you get into that like, all right, the new stimulus is no longer new stimulus. Then it's like, you kind of need more to keep stimulating.
Yeah.
And then you get to a point where more is too much.
Yeah.
And then you kind of got to go back down to that like less is more mentality, I think, as you start getting to that. So it's just like, I feel like just moving heavy weights on a consistent basis, it just takes so much on the body. And I think that's why so many people, it's like, you hear it all the time, like, oh, I just feel like shit all the time. Oh, why am I doing this? It's like, it's probably because you're doing too much.
Yeah.
You know, maybe do a little less.
Yeah.
You know, might be good for you. Because if you're always hurting, it's kind of hard to really push.
Exactly.
You know?
Exactly. And I think that like, yeah, as time has gone on, I think I've gotten a little bit more like, I personally would like to get to a point where I can hit my main movements, and then once I like step into the accessory room, I'm like, I have enough energy to hit all this stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like, and lately it kind of has been that way. It's just that Saturday is just such a long day.
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, like stimulus and stuff like that, I wanted to put it out there for all of you, all the listeners and all the viewers out there is that like, now mind you, I have this, right? I'm going to drink this, but amongst us is someone who's better than us, right?
Yeah.
Someone who's,
Some of us
some of us,
some self-control.
some of us are able to sit on golden thrones and poop there, whereas
let me say
I don't fucking porcelain.
It's so nice. So gold.
Fuck you. So, how have you been feeling with no caffeine? With that being said,
Really good, actually.
oh yeah,
Sleeping better. Mm-hmm. I actually have energy because I was getting to the point where I drink an energy drink and then need to take a nap in the middle of the day.
yeah,
You know, whereas like now it's been like 2 weeks with no caffeine. Now I'm like, I don't necessarily need that midday nap,
yeah.
you know?
You feel good.
So I'm like, well, okay, maybe it was time to
Yeah.
get off caffeine. Because, like I've been taking caffeine consistently for, I don't know how long, years.
Yeah.
And it's like, usually 400 to 600 milligrams a day, which isn't an absurd amount, but it still adds up. And then, doing pre-workout later in the day doesn't help anything with the sleep. And then, but I think caffeine in general just doesn't help with sleep.
Yeah. How was that first week though?
Fine.
Because like my first week, when I would try and stop caffeine, that first week was fucking rough.
Yeah, I've never had issues like that, but I know there's some people where it's because caffeine is a drug.
Oh yeah.
And you do build tolerance to it. So when you try to come off, it's like coming off any other drug, like, fucking crack or something, Not as nearly as bad, of course, but I know some people get headaches, stuff like that, which I did have a headache one of the days, so maybe that was it.
Yeah.
But so you gotta be careful of that, especially if you're somebody drinking 800 milligrams of caffeine a day.
Yeah.
So start slowly, cut it to like 400 and then 200 and then come off. But probably the biggest thing I miss is I just miss drinking the drinks.
Oh yeah.
You like the flavor. It's kind of part of the routine.
Well, it's my favorite flavor right here, the orange creamsicle.
Yeah. And do orange cream.
I like orange cream. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I know this is some sort of homosexual rigmarole that you're trying to get at me, but I'm telling you right now, cream soda, orange cream soda, or just orange, orange cream ice cream is so fucking good. I love it.
It's good.
I always wanted to ask was because like I've tried I've dialed back my caffeine consumption quite a bit. It used to be in the 900s.
Yeah.
On a daily basis because the rains. And then I was noticing that as I would get more and more, it's almost and it still happens to this day. If I go, I'm when I have a pretty heavy workout, I'm going to go get a rain that has 300 milligrams of caffeine in it. And I go and I would take that to the head. I don't get fucking anything from it. I actually get tired. Yeah. I get fucking sleepy. These are the only ones that actually, these ones are the only ones that actually pick me up and actually make me feel good.
Yeah.
Right? And
so it's why are you drinking these if it's not even helping you anymore?
Exactly. And so I did that during that time. I was like, fuck this. I'm not drinking energy drinks anymore. I'm just going to drink coffee. Mm-hmm. And so that's when I would go and get venti cold brews and stuff like that. And 1 week I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to take any caffeine. And I did for that whole week. And I drug so much ass. I felt dumb. I was like, what is that? And then that next week I was like, all right, coffee. I started drinking coffee. And then I reintroduced caffeine and stuff. But I always keep it at again, like you said, between 400 to 600. I don't exceed that.
Yeah, but definitely worth looking into if you're an avid caffeine drinker. Definitely worth looking into because two, you can reset your tolerance so that hey, one caffeine drink actually does something to me, and which is a good thing. It's kind of the point,
Oh yeah.
So it might be something worth looking into, going and coming off caffeine for a little bit and just kind of resetting all the receptors and everything. And you know, it's like, it's a good thing. I always like to go from the mindset of, I don't like to rely on things, you know, because what if you can't have access to it? You know, then you're like, well, now I can't function. And it's like, okay, well, that's not a good thing.
That's true.
So I try to always keep that mindset. Now, of course, there's some things that, you know, I do on a daily basis that I rely on, but it's good for my health, so I do it. You know, like take vitamins, all that stuff. So I don't look at those as like a negative thing, but if there's things like, oh, I need caffeine to, you know, get through the day. All right, maybe I should look at that and go, don't need caffeine, and I'm just using it as a crutch.
And then also too, especially for those that are like, you don't get it, you just get so tired in the middle of the day, and blah blah blah. It's like, okay, so let me ask you something. Are you, because if you're of the group like that works construction or a manual labor job, and you're like, well, I get super tired at the middle of the day, understandable.
Yeah,
you're
working outside usually.
Exactly, you're moving concrete, you're doing fucking roofs and shit. Yeah, you're gonna be tired. Understandable. But if you're like those dudes that kind of just like take, for instance, for me, my first energy drink is right before I sit down to do notes. It's because while I'm like throughout the day, I'm moving people, I'm talking to people, I'm doing things, whatever, blah. But the moment I sit down to do notes, I'm sucking air cock, dude. I'm just like, and it's just because notes is fucking boring. And that's like, dude, like I'm sitting in front of patient experience, this kind of like, you know, I'm just like, fucking, now I'm a patient, you know? But anyway, so it's like, that'll be my first energy drink. So I can like do something, drink, do something, drink, do something, drink. Where it's like, if I really wanted to be like a little bit more proactive with it, I could just be like, I could pick my desk up and stand up while I'm doing it. Or I could do a couple notes during the day, which is what I did on Friday. So there's really no excuse for me, right?
Yeah.
Now,
well, and I wonder how much of it is a placebo effect of you drinking the drink. It's not so much that it's giving you energy, it's that placebo of like, okay, I know I'm doing something that's supposed to be with just like I'm energy now.
Oh yeah.
You know? So then it's like, we'll just have something that's similar but doesn't have caffeine.
Yeah. I'll be honest with you when I say that I just really, really love the taste of these.
I know.
If that's more what I'm addicted to. It's just like they taste so good.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's like, here's how my brain works. I'm going to give you a little bit of a deep dive on how my brain works. And this is more, this is more addict brain. My brain goes like this. You've already denied so much of yourself. You don't eat the stuff you like.
Yep.
You don't use nicotine anymore. You don't drink.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can have it.
You can have this. My brain goes, I can't have this.
You're right.
No, you're right. You know, I fucking work hard to deserve this.
Yeah.
The next thing you know, it's like fucking midnight. And I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have had that.
That's to sleep right now.
Exactly. So, with that being said, well, we can trail back to it.
Injury.
Yeah.
Injury recovery.
So, big thing that I've been doing, and this is actually a big like I would say that a lot of people would actually be like, no, you shouldn't do that. And actually, a lot of physical therapists would actually, well, Chad agreed with me, but a lot of physical therapists will actually be like, actually, you don't want to do completely that because you run the risk of further injuring it. But I believe in a more aggressive approach when it comes to rehab, right? Mm-hmm. And that is, if you hurt yourself, depending on the degree of the injury, if you hurt yourself, that does not mean everything stops.
Yeah.
Right? Because what ends up happening is that a lot of people end up looking at their thing, like take for instance, I hurt my quad. A lot of people would have been like, well, I'm in a limp on it. I'm going to make sure I don't hurt it even more. So I'm not going to use it. Fuck that. No, I walked on it. I walked on it. I lunged with it. I did everything that I was supposed to. I did single leg squats. I did all these different things to basically go, hey, I know this hurts. It hurts right now. You're fine, right? But I still made sure that while I was doing that stuff, I made sure that the pain was managed, right? So like, okay, and it's never okay, ow, that really hurts. No, it's okay, it's there, right? It's there. We'll keep it at that level, right? The way I always think about it is in a scale, and like if you think about pain in a scale of like RPE, I keep it at a 3, nothing more.
Yeah.
And if I can get less, perfect. But if it goes to a level 3, that's where it stays. And so with that, I maneuver my thing so this way it doesn't exceed a level 3. So like if I can't squat down all the way because I would be exceeding a level 3 in my head, I'm like, okay, so then how do we mitigate that? So but then don't just be like, okay, so then stop that movement. No, you progress that movement over time. And lo and behold, within like later on in the week, my quad is feeling way better now, right? And I think it's also too, because like for you, when it came to your back pain, that was all referencing from somewhere that was coming from somewhere else, correct?
Correct.
Right. You want to go into that a little bit?
Yeah. So I was having massive back pain, and what was causing it is my quads. My quads were pulling on my hip. So, quads connect up into the hip bone from the hip flexor. And so they were pulling down and my hips were pulling forward. So I had a pelvic tilt. So that was causing, massive, it was causing my back to overwork basically. So that would cause it to hurt, but it wasn't the back that was a problem. And so that's something with injuries too. Unless you have like a specific, like, okay, my knee popped and like now I tore an ACL. Unless you have something specific, a lot of times pain is just an indicator there's something wrong. It's not necessarily where the problem is. Because I've worked with a lot of clients who have knee pain and it's caused from either feet, ankles, or hips, never the knees.
Oh yeah.
Unless they have a specific meniscus issue, it's always those 3 things, never the actual knees. So when you're dealing with an injury, dealing with pain, you got to start to look around to like, okay, what could be causing this pain? And try to figure out, because like with my back, as soon as I would put a ball into my quads, it was like, oh, the pain's gone. Because my quads will relax a little bit, even my hips will relax a little bit.
Yeah.
And voila, pain's gone.
Yeah.
So they're not fixed yet. They're not fully 100%, because if I use my quads, like I squat or I deadlift, they come back, the pain comes back. It's still there. So it's just a matter of like, all right, we got to continue to rehab. I got to continue to work on it in the hopes that they'll eventually loosen up.
Exactly.
But it's a lot of times it's just a constant process that you got to go to when like things like this happen.
Oh yeah.
And they don't necessarily heal up right away, but you got to keep moving. You got to keep doing stuff. So movement is healing.
Exactly.
Like what you were talking about with like your quad. You keep using it, keep moving it, because that's going to bring more blood, which has all sorts of nutrients, everything that you need to heal and recover. If you're just, all right, like I hurt my quad, so now I'm going to sit on the couch for this week. You're doing that, like you're putting yourself way behind the healing process, because when you're stagnant, your blood flow drops, which means you're not getting any of the nutrients that it needs, or not as much. So yeah, it's just unless you have like, you're like, all right, completely tore my quad and now I got to go and get surgery.
Yeah.
And okay, yeah, dude, stop all that. But if you just strained it, muscles are just being tight or being angry, keep moving, keep doing stuff, because that'll heal up so much faster than.
Exactly. And you'd be surprised how, depending on how much in shape you are, will determine how fast you actually get better. This instance in general, yes, okay, I was able to kind of not speed up the healing process, but I was able to facilitate that healing process a little better. But I feel like if I was just in a little bit better shape, actually, I don't think I would have been injured to begin with.
Yeah.
I think honestly, I probably, if I like could boil it down to anything, it's like because if I had that ability to be able to recover faster, I think we wouldn't be even talking about this right now. But we're not going to talk about the
Coulda, woulda, shoulda.
There you go. Now, the biggest thing that I'll also tell you is that your body, in a sense, it plays or it feeds directly into your emotional system too. If you have a bad attitude or if you have a bad outlook on the injury itself, the injury is just it's gonna mount up worse than you think it's gonna be, right? So it's always good, and there's a lot of studies that have shown that a lot of studies have shown that if you have a really good and positive outlook on the outcome of your rehab or outcome of the injury itself, that it actually heals faster. It heals better. And it's because at the end of the day, you're telling your brain, I'm going to be fine. We're fine. So it doesn't have that same guarding mechanism on that area. And it's because that's what I was telling Amanda. It was just that, like, every time she starts and she gets to this point, she's like, okay, that hurts. Stop it completely. I'm like, okay, so now what I want you to do, so I want you to get up to that point where you know for a fact, like take for instance, did you grow up with siblings?
I had a brother, yeah.
Older or younger?
Younger.
Okay. Did your brother ever come up to you, fuck with you a little bit, and you were just on the point of about to fucking hit him or something, and then he just like completely goes, I don't know what to do, what's the matter, and he just like walked away?
Yeah.
That's almost kind of what you have to do with your injury. You push up to that threshold. You walk up to the threshold where it's like, all right, I'm fucking aggravated. And you're like, and then you pull back and you gaslight it and you tell it that, I don't know why you're being so upset right now. I'm not even doing anything. You almost have to gaslight your brain. That's what you have to do. You have to gaslight your brain into thinking that, no, you're fine. And after a while, your brain goes, oh, okay, we actually are fine. And then it'll start taking, because your brain has that, in a sense, pain in itself will kind of is a signal that says, hey, warning, don't do this. So your brain will immediately push those pain thresholds higher and say, hey, you're about to injure yourself.
Yeah.
Stop, hold on, stop. So you almost have to kind of play around with it and go, no, see, we're fine. Yeah, we're fine.
Yeah, no, the brain is extremely powerful in the power of thought. When they talk about a lot of like the most extreme cancers and stuff like that, like the people that have the best outlooks are usually the ones that do the best. So you take it to that extreme. Well, why not use that mindset also for injury? So like that, like if you get down and depressed and you're just like, well, your body is going to respond accordingly.
Exactly.
But yeah, if you go in with like, all right, this sucks, but hey, it happened. Let's go. Let's figure it out. Let's do this. It is amazing how much of a difference it will make on how you recover.
Exactly. And which is hard. Okay. Like, trust me, I'm not going to sit here and be like, hey, it didn't happen. I mean, no, man, I woke up, moved my arm, and my pec hurt, and went, fuck, dude. Like, I just got done with this with my quad. Especially if you're in the same camp or boat as me, where you go from one thing straight into another.
Yeah.
It sucks. But there's a couple of things that you can go about this. One, you can go, hey, this is part of the game. Right? We lift heavy ass fucking weight. We move weight in a sense of our hobby to compete. Shit like this is gonna happen.
It's always that risk.
Yeah, there's always that a little bit of risk that, hey, you're like, something's gonna happen, right? Now, with that also being said, is if you could pull yourself out of the pity party to kind of take a look at what's going on, you'll notice that the calling signs are all there. Your body is telling you something, right? Are you doing too much? Are you recovering the way you should be? Are you actually taking the time to be in shape to actually facilitate that recovery? Right? Like, I'll be honest with you. Like, fuck, here's a hot take for you right here. Is that more times than not, if a person says, oh, I'm just so over fatigued, I think, I think I'm overtraining. No. 9 times out of 10, actually, I think you're just not sleeping well and you're not eating smart.
Yeah.
And throwing in a third one, I think you probably move a little bit more. Right? Like, let's be honest here. If you move more, you eat better, and you sleep better, you'd be surprised how just that in itself will kind of mitigate a lot of overtraining. Now, mind you, at the same time, I'm not looking at your program. If your program is like, you have 10 sets of 10. Do you remember those?
Yeah.
Remember those days? Oh, yeah.
Hold on.
10 sets of 10, man. German volume training. So you look at your program, if you have an overabundance of volume, and okay, yeah, so you're not recovering, you're not adapting to it. Okay, that's a conversation you've got to have with the coach.
Yeah.
But
Well, and you got to look at, okay, if you're not doing all the right stuff, then you need to adjust accordingly because, if that's the lifestyle you want to live, then yeah, maybe it is too much for you then.
Yeah.
But yeah, you got to have that honest conversation with yourself and then your coach and going like, all right, I like living this way and this is the lifestyle I live. So, I don't sleep as well as I could. I don't eat as good as I could. So I can't handle what you're giving me.
yeah,
I can try to fix these things or just accept it. And then, but it all just depends on you and what you want out of all this. Because if you want to be the best, well, then you're fucking up. But if you're cool with like, all right, I just want to get a little stronger, enjoy this, have fun, then yeah, well, okay,
yeah,
keep going, keep trucking.
I agree. And so it's like the decision is yours, because you, at the end of the day, when you look at like your program and then you look at your life. Now, mind you, there's some people who don't have that luxury.
Yeah.
Right. It's like, okay, well, you have kids, you have your family, or even more so is that if your job is very demanding, right? Completely get that.
Yeah.
But if you have a consistent schedule, but you find yourself just kind of sitting on the couch and you're just like, well, I wonder what this show's about. Hey, more power to you. If that's how you relax and that's how you shut off, great. But be able to understand that it's like, okay, well, I have to be able to do this, because if you want to be able to kind of make sure you don't plateau, continue your progress, and be able to actually like not possibly get injured, you have to be able to prioritize a lot of the more important aspects of training, in the sense of like, okay, sleep and eating and recovery, okay, and whatever you see fit. I'm not here to judge how you guys live your life. I mean, let's be honest here, like, I'm not perfect.
No.
Right? I mean, shit, like, there are some nights where I only get about 6.5 hours of sleep. And it's because I'll come home and I'll have other stuff, I'll have other responsibilities to do, and then I'll be like, fuck, I have to meal prep. So I'll meal prep, and then by the time I'm going to bed, it's 10:30, and I'm like, fuck, I'm tired.
Dang.
It is what it is. That's life. We mitigate from there. So, I mean, it's hard not to get depressed as well, because I was like, in my head, I was like, fuck, man. I was rolling. I was like, dude, I did my RDLs, I did my squats. The squats were feeling great. I was like, dude, let's fucking go. And it was like, I will say, when the initial feeling I got from my pec was, I'm like, it scared the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of people who have that ability to be able to like, okay, well, I have good insurance, and if I get injured, I mean, it's fine. I can still do my job. I can't.
Yeah.
That's my biggest issue, guys. If I get injured, I cannot do my job.
Yeah. Yeah, there's that side of all this, because like I'd be lying if I wouldn't say like injuries are running through my head going into this, you know, I'm like, all right, what happens if this happens? You know, so, cause yeah, I mean, I would be struggling in my job too if something happened. So it's always kind of there. And whenever you get a little scare like that, it's like, I think there's a couple things of, all right, well, shit, is this going to be bad till I can't work? And also, is this going to be so bad that I can't do the thing that I enjoy?
Oh yeah.
You know, is it going to take away something that I really enjoy for an extended period of time?
Exactly.
You know, so there's those two things. Or it could be like, you know, the quad tear is always scary because it's like, you know, some of those are so bad that you're probably not going to be able to power lift ever again. You know?
Oh yeah. I mean, well, after Ken, I completely have done away with.
Yeah, Ken's a fucking mutant.
Yeah, that's true. Don't get me wrong. He's right. But like,
But yeah, it's still possible to come back from something like that. But let's be real though, like there is that possibility of like that could be it.
yeah.
You know, so there's always that things of you know, all right, I'm gonna go to work. I might be able to do this thing that I used to build my life around. You know.
Yeah.
So there's it's scary.
Oh.
It can be scary when something happens and you're like, "Fuck, is this it?" You know.
Oh yeah. I mean, like, knock on wood. This is. I mean, I've always just only had the most I've ever had was a torn hamstring.
Yeah.
In my time of like competition style, whatever. I've had nerve issues before. I've had nerve issues. I've had back issues, but I've never actually had anything like a full rupture tear. Knock on wood.
Yeah.
And but again, I've always been on the side of like, okay, well, if you think about it, and I've always talked about it, weightlifting and powerlifting is probably the safest sport you could possibly like, quote unquote, like participate in, right?
Yeah, the number of the injuries that happen versus some other sports is
Yeah,
pretty low.
very, yeah. It's like 0.3 per 1,000 hours worth of training that they saw. Now, does that say that mean that?
Not gonna change.
Yeah.
The fact that it's still in the back of our
Oh,
minds.
of course, of course. You think I wasn't thinking about like what would happen if I squatted 738 and I was just like thought about like the moment and I like tried to shove it out of my head. I do the best I possibly can, but every time like that one time that day I hit 738 on the platform, I was like in my head I was like, please don't blow up, please don't blow up, please don't blow up.
Yeah.
Because it's yeah. I mean everyone sees the pit, everyone sees the videos.
Yeah. Especially when you're getting into like new territory that you've never done.
Oh yeah.
It's always like, is this gonna be it?
Oh yeah.
But you know, that's anything worthwhile. It just doesn't come without its own risk.
Exactly.
So it's kind of one of those things. It's you just gotta accept it and be ready for whatever happens.
That's true. That is true.
You know.
But I mean, yeah. Outside of that, that's pretty much how I've been doing things. I think on when it comes to my pec, I'm going to keep moving it. I'm going to do mostly body weight stuff and kind of see if I can, just make sure I stay. I'm not going to do too deep of stretches on it, but I'm going to definitely like dig into it and, I'm also going to work on my shoulder mobility just a little bit more. And then once I know that it's feeling better, I am going to work on like stretching it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's also why a lot of my shoulder instability and shoulder mobility issues come from, just because my pecs are so tight. And they gotta loosen up. You know what I mean? Just gotta dig a finger in there and just
Finger that ball.
let's fucking
Go to town.
loosen it up, dude. Now, I think now is a good time we can push on into the second portion.
Give us some hot takes.
Hot takes in the fitness industry. This is going to be fun.
All right. Let's see here. Let's start with certifications don't automatically make someone a good coach.
That is true. I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
Because now don't get me wrong, there are some things that like, so not saying he's a bad coach. Keith Valeros, one of the best coaches I know, right? He is a kinesiology major. He's going into DBT work here soon, to go to DBT school. And he's, like, he's very, very well knowledged. But the thing about that makes Keith a really good coach is it's not just the knowledge of the, like, what different terms mean or what this does or what this means that you can get from the book. It's the experience that he got from just being able to talk to people, accommodate to their training, and be able to adapt people or himself, adapt his training style so that people can actually get stronger. It's the experience.
Yeah. Well, it's being able to translate all the scientific and things that you learn, be able to translate it so the average person can understand and be able to execute on that. And then also, not all certifications are made equal.
Yeah.
There are some certifications, I mean, I know from the personal training side, some certifications are just like kind of whatever.
Yeah. Like the NASM.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Is it? I don't know.
I mean, it's still pretty highly regarded, but like CSCS is way more.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so not all certifications are equal, and just because you got a certification doesn't mean that you know anything. You know.
Yeah, like there's an influx of doctors on Instagram, like surgeons and general practitioners. They'll just go and be like, exercises you should not be doing as an orthopedic surgeon. Deadlifts, they're the worst. So they don't like, and like there's so many people that are like, no, there's like a bunch of science that says otherwise. Like you actually know what you're talking about at all. You shouldn't be doing dips. You shouldn't be doing shoulder presses. Why? Because it's great. I don't think you know what you're talking about.
No.
Then it's like, now, here's the thing. Have you ever gotten any type of, I'm not going to say discrimination in a sense, but have you ever gotten any type of like dismissal because you don't have quote unquote certain certifications?
No, I don't think I had that issue.
I have. Yeah. As a PTA, I've had people tell me, oh, you're a physical therapist? Oh, I'm a physical therapist assistant. Oh, I'm just an assistant?
Yeah.
I would rather just talk to the doctor than I'll probably just talk to the therapist then. I'm like, I know shit.
But you know what actually works with patients on a daily basis? They don't.
I like, and there are even people too that have like, even in my time of coaching, I've definitely had it. They're like, oh, so I was told by so-and-so that you're a physical therapist. I'm like, oh, I'm actually a physical therapist assistant.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, what's the difference? I'm like, schooling, they go to school, they get their doctorate. I have my associate's degree as a PTA. And they're like, oh, yeah, no, I think I'm going to go a different direction. I'm like sitting there, I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
like, understand, for those of you that don't know, PTAs and PTs, though the schooling is a lot more on DBTs, and I'm not taking this away from DBTs, right? I would put, if I was a betting man, and you set a PTA that has been in the field for multiple years next to a DBT, right? I would say, more times than not, the PTA is upwards of the same type of knowledge that the DBT does, and especially if they're a good PTA. As a PTA, we're still learning, still getting the different like studies, still trying to understand and learn how we can best, treat our patients, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's like, again, I would, in my head sometimes, maybe it's because I'm biased, it's like, if I had a PTA that's been doing it for 15 years, or a DBT that just hit the fleet, I'm sorry, I'm going to go with the PTA that's been doing it for 15 years.
Yeah.
It's because more times than not, it's like you can look at, that's another thing too, from that motherfucker, is that you can look at a book all you want, right? I learned so much when it came to like nerve impingements and injuries and shit like that, but then you see it in person, right? And you have to work with it in person. The books will tell you a general guideline, but sometimes injuries don't show themselves to be exactly that. You know what I mean? And it takes an experienced eye to actually be able to like look at it and be like, okay, so this is what you're supposed to do, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. I think especially nowadays with information being readily available to everyone, degrees, certifications, they don't necessarily mean that you know your shit, and not having those doesn't necessarily mean that you don't know your shit, because there are plenty of people out there that don't have degrees, that don't have, certifications, that know way more than anybody with the most schooling, certifications, all that. Like, because you can teach yourself everything from that stuff.
Yeah.
That you need to know. Because that's why you see, you go to look at who runs businesses. There aren't people that went to college for business. No, tell people that barely graduated high school.
That's true.
And
but just really know how to talk to people.
Yeah,
really know how to.
And they did it. I think you can get the most out of doing it, and that's why I say a lot of times, in your field, PTAs are the best people to go to because they're the ones actually doing this stuff on a daily basis. Whereas the DPTs, they don't really get much hands-on. They do the initial prescribing usually, and then they don't do anything else after, for the most part.
Yeah.
So you're not really practicing your skills very often.
The only time I'll actually give a disagreement to that is in skilled nursing, where I work. Mm-hmm. In skilled nursing, you have our PTs actually do evals, but they also have different patients underneath them. And it's again though, it's like I have a DPT that works with me, and he's walked up to me and been like, I've never seen this patient. What do you do with them? I'm like, well, I do this, and this, because this works with that. And also too, because they're presenting with this, so that usually works for them as well.
Yeah.
Right? I've had others where it's just like, I'm a DPT, I know what I'm doing. I'm like, all right, good, cool. Go for it. Tell me how that works for you. And they're like, you wouldn't work with me. Oh, I wouldn't want. You know what I mean? But it's like, no. For those of you that want to know if you're especially if you're trying to get into coaching, understand that the hardest part is not getting the certifications. The hardest part is trying to get people to buy into what you're trying to get them to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And then on the flip side of it, we've touched on this subject before, but then you have the people that do one competition and they think that they're a coach now, and who follow my plan? And it's just the plan that they're given by their coach. And
oh yeah.
So you also have that side of it of all these people that don't have any certifications, any experience, and then they say they're coach and they don't know shit. So as somebody who's getting into this and trying to figure out what type of coach do I want to get into, one, I always tell people do some shopping, talk to multiple coaches, see if you can get along with the person. So it's a big one.
Oh yeah.
Because you don't get along with your coach, you're probably not going to last very long with them.
That's true. Following on that, you should also want to know whether or not if you can actually have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
Because if you get into a conversation with a coach and they're like, yeah. So whatever, just send me and you're like, that didn't feel mercy
listening.
Yeah. Then obviously that's not the coach for you. But if you that's hence the reason why if anyone ever talks to me, one thing, I shift my body language.
Yeah. I
don't stand to the side. I immediately face them, and I make as much eye contact as possible to try and make them as uncomfortable as possible. I'm just kidding. But no, I try my hardest to
be attentive,
to also
active listening,
and to also understand that the person is, an emotional being. So I have to also appeal to that emotional side, that sense of being like, hey,
yeah,
I believe in you. Because I actually do. Now, in the sense of just shopping as well, you should be able to look at a lot of, if the person doesn't have, if you look at a person, you're like, I really like this person's, I want to see if this person will actually coach me. And they don't have certifications. They're like, all right, well, that doesn't mean they're a bad coach. Mm-hmm. And then you look at their thing. You can look at their background and see if how they've done in their own competition style, I guess. Best thing to do, if you know someone, or if you happen to know someone that's on their roster,
Yeah, go talk to them.
go talk to them. Don't talk to the coach immediately. Go talk to their athletes.
Yeah.
And if their athlete is like, yeah, man, I mean, it's been
good.
It's been all right, then be like, all right, that's a big red flag. To me, that's a red flag. Now, if a person goes, oh man, dude, I love working with Andrew. He listens. If I'm telling him that there's a problem, he immediately accommodates to try and make that problem go away. Or he understands that life. I can text him at any time, most of the time, and he'll get back to me within a day or so. And it's like, oh shit. All right, I'm going to go with that guy because that guy actually makes me seem like I'm not just another name on the roster.
Yeah. Yeah, and then people are like, all right, yeah, I've done this, with his programming and understanding, they've actually shown progress too. That's always, always a big one. They're like, yeah, like I've gained, 100 pounds on my total since working with Andrew. Okay, that's probably a pretty good sign.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So yeah, go talk to one of their athletes if you can. It's always good, and then it helps with the coach because you don't really have to sell it anymore.
That's true. I've had people walk up. No, dude, I've had people walk up to me and be like, "Hey, I see what you're doing with this person, and I just want to say that's awesome." And I'll go, "You know it is. That's great.
Yeah, you should join.
You should join." Let's do one more.
Yeah,
I think honestly, like, I like these because it's honestly like pretty kind of fun because you can also talk shit to people without talking shit to people.
Social media rewards controversial coaches over effective coaches.
Ooh,
Yes.
this
topic. Social media and coaches.
Well, social media in itself to me is just it's a fucking disease, to be completely honest.
Yeah, it's gotten bad.
And it is the truth. I've seen it so many times where it's like, in order for a coach, and like I've noticed that there are a lot of coaches that kind of like, it's like, well, you can see their little head in the corner of another person's video. This right here used to be the stupidest take I've ever fucking seen. Which is honestly one of my biggest fears for like getting like out there as a coach, is because if I put something out, I'm afraid that I'm going to get a fucking either a comment from another coach like, this has to be the worst take I've ever seen, this is stupid, or like, again, them taking my video, putting it up there, and being like, don't ever listen to this guy. This guy's a joker. He has no idea. Now, if you're really trying to get strong, go ahead and hit that like button, come over to the right, do it. And it's like, hey, man, can't hate the player, hate the game, but at the same time, it's like I'm looking at him like, you're a piece of shit.
Yeah. Well, social, like you'll see it, these coaches will just put out, I don't know that they actually believe it, but they're putting out just shit because they know that it's going to get clicks and likes, that people, because even hate comments still drive up the algorithm and drive up the people interacting with it. So it's like, they don't care. So they'll say the stupidest shit on there just to get even hate.
So how do you get your testosterone?
I better jump around.
I call it jumping around and getting real crazy.
Jump around and get really crazy.
Dude.
This one time I saved the SEAL teams back in Bin Laden.
Guy Tuto was gone and I stayed with a tourniquet. Dude, like, but it's like, it's almost getting to a point where it's like satire like that is getting so close to being like, is that real or is he just being satirical?
Yeah.
And like, there's a guy that actually Keith Valeros always talks to me about. I don't know his name off the top of my head because he's not in the stratosphere, but he's one of those guys. He's one of those dudes that like on the back end, he's like, he did just one competition. Trust me, this feeds into it. He did one competition and then started putting out coaching and stuff. Now, here's the issue is he'll be like, just on my own coaching did this and this is how my deadlift has gotten better. And he never locks out anything. It's always very terrible. right? But then people are like, that doesn't look right. And he's like, thanks for the engagement. No life.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's crazy because it's like, you know, you always got to wonder what is real on social media. Like, I mean, I followed Dom Manzetti for the longest time on social media. And it's like, for the first part, I didn't know that it was just a gig, an act, you know, and then listening to him actually talking to his person is so fucking weird now.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's like, I only know you as this dude.
Yeah.
I don't know you as this guy. So you always got to wonder these coaches out there putting out this wild shit. And it's like, is that actually who you are as a coach? If so, nobody should hire you. Or is this just to get engagement so then you think it's going to help build your business? And it's like, man, but it's so ugly. Then you see people who put out really good information and barely getting any traction. And it's just like, it's so frustrating. It's like, no, people, this is what you should be listening to.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Like, to me, the best people to listen to, or at least the best people to like look towards for advice, I believe, when it comes to being on, and mind you, one of the, it would be Amber Dawn or Adon Vicious. She's on Instagram. Dr. Seth Aldersworth. Oh my God, the amount of stuff he puts out is so good. But the last one, he actually kind of falls under the line of this, but he actually is a very well-renowned coach, and he's actually really good, right? And he actually taught me some stuff, and that's Stuart Locke, student Kodiak Barbell, and he will go on Instagram and be like, the reason why you're not doing very well is because you suck and you're lazy and you're this. Just so you guys know, God bless. And you're like, and there are times where I'm like, well, dude, there's so much more than that. But then again, it's hit on a lot of engagement, and but then he'll like put out some really good stuff. Like, you're dealing with some injuries. This is how you deal with it in the next in the next 30 seconds. This, and this. God bless. And you're just like, oh, that's great.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, you gotta be careful out there on social media. Mm-hmm. You know who you're getting your information from. Don't fall trap to the bullshit out there. Especially, like, if these guys, like, the science-based lifters, like, if you haven't accomplished anything, you know, as like, if you're a powerlifter, you're looking for powerlifting information, and you're trying to get information from somebody who hasn't done shit, probably not the person to get information from.
Yeah.
You know, but we have this mind of, well, this confirms the bias confirmation. That's the problem out there.
Yeah.
It's like you get these biases in your head. You see something online that confirms it, and you're like, yeah, that's it. And
exactly.
And it's like, no, stupid, stop listening to these stupid people. Just because you think that it's right doesn't make it right. Stop, please.
And that's another thing too, is that like, you will be surprised how social media in itself, it works off the same kind of stuff that your phones do, in a sense that it'll hear what you're talking about and it'll facilitate its algorithm towards what you have been. Hence the reason why, exactly that. You'll be scrolling through and you're like talking about fucking condoms. Oh, look, these condoms. These are better condoms than I've ever put, blah, blah, blah. And then your phone picks up on that and you're like, why am I getting ads for condoms and for other stuff like that? It's the same thing.
Not really condom ads.
Good.
Asshole.
Yeah, that's what I want. I want you to have that. And butt plugs. Yeah. Butt plugs. But like, the same thing goes for that. If you have if you like something, like let's say someone says something and you're like, oh, I like that, your algorithm immediately starts shifting to, okay, so he likes this, so start pushing this. And then because it's like, oh, you like this, we're going to start taking stuff that has the same type of, is within the same ballpark realm. And it just so happens to be, oh, here's this very hated fucking science lifting bro, or here's this very hated fucking drugged up meathead that everyone doesn't listen to, but we're going to put this in your algorithm because we want you to fucking listen to it. It's just, social media has dampened a lot of stuff, and it's made it to the point where you just remember everything, and whatever you see on Instagram or Twitter or whatever, it's not real.
Yeah.
It's not.
Yeah. Doesn't just because you see it on there doesn't make it real. I saw this report. There was a guy that made a AI girl, and made a whole page for her and everything, and was making like 80 grand a month from it. But he just had her doing stuff and then he created an OnlyFans or something, I don't know, from it, and it was good. He's making fucking bank off of that. That's just like, but also, hey, do we need to make 80 grand?
Yeah, seriously. Hey, you know what? Fuck it. I'm not below it. I don't give a fuck. I'll put a wig on.
No, we didn't need to do that.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
What?
do that.
Yeah, I will. for the thing though, not because I want to.
Yeah, no. That's
Obviously not because I
have one and really wear it to walk around the house with it.
Yeah. Anyway, so you guys take it easy. Have a great rest of your dude. Man, I was talking to very quickly. I was talking to Amanda about that because she's on the female side of coaching, and man, the amount of dudes that'll just like immediately just downplay anything that she says just because she's a female coach.
Yeah,
that's another thing too. What you have between your legs will determine how much you get respected or how much people want to work with you. That's just the reality of it. I don't like it. I think it's stupid. My coach is a girl. My coach is the strongest woman I've ever fucking met, dude. But I mean, shit. When I first met her, she was a top tier powerlifter and stayed a top tier powerlifter for years. And when I was like, hey, would you be willing to coach me? She did. And she has pushed me to 3 2K totals.
Yeah.
So that's another piece of advice to all of you out there. Just because the person that you're looking for to coach you, take the gender off of it. Look at the person as the coach itself. You'd be surprised how there's a lot of female coaches that can make you a better athlete than any male coach can. Because among that lady, there's something that, I mean, sometimes Jen can be a little like, you know what I mean? Very like, go fucking do it. And that's fine. I can do that. But more times than not, females tend to be a little bit more emotionally accommodating. So if you're like definitely dealing with something, they tend to be a little bit more like, hey, what's going on? Is everything okay? And as a man, it's kind of nice to be able to be like, it's kind of sad. Whereas if you have your other bro that's kind of like, that doesn't really do that, who will just be like, hey, you're sucking. Quit sucking. And you're like,
been gay, fucker.
Yeah, dude. Whatever you're dealing with, not even that bad. Seems to me like you need to fucking harden up. And you're just like, I guess I'll log up my depression. I guess I'll fucking harden up on my depression. It's fine. It's whatever.
Yeah. Definitely don't discriminate based off of sex. It's shitty.
It's awfully gay of you.
But also, don't be one of those weirdos that because she's a female coach and you think that you can fucking be creeper.
Oh shit, dude. Yeah. Oh my god.
Because there's that side of it too. How about we just be good people?
Yeah. Why can't we just do that? Let's be good people. Be fucking better.
Yeah.
Fucking assholes. Anyway. All right. Well, you got anything else?
That's it.
All right, guys. Thank you again. Take it easy. Like, subscribe, comment, fucking share with your friends. And
see you after the competition.
After the competition. Actually, that's real quick. That's another question. Do you want to do our next episode in the hotel room or at the place, or do you want to do it on the road? Figure it out.
Figure it out.
All right. Well, guys, take it easy.